Hello and welcome to Chef Carter's Cooking Corner. So, today on Chef Carter's Cooking Corner, I'm going to attempt to make an apple risotto from a TV show called Food Wars. So, you may be familiar with this show. If you're not, it is a Japanese anime show in which all the characters are going to a culinary school and they actually compete in what's called food wars. And so, they compete, and if the food is really good, it causes food gasms. So it's pretty interesting. And found this show about a month ago, and when I saw them do an apple risotto, I was like, let me try this. So usually it does call for arboreal rice. However, it was kind of expensive, but I found this small bag of sushi rice, and they're both short grain rice and it worked just fine. I also found a recipe online, and I'll have the link to it at the bottom. I did formulate my own. The one thing I was missing though was the lemon juice, and that was mentioned. But other than that, I think mine turned out pretty good, you know. Um, but you can check this out. It's on a fandom website. I'm not even going to attempt to say the name because that's kind of a little different there. But it's a pretty cool site, so you should go watch it or go look at it if you are a fan of anime. So the first thing I did was cook some bacon in the skillet. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I prefer to do my bacon in the oven. And today is no exception. I just started the bacon in the pan in order to get some of the bacon grease off of the bacon. All right, so I am moving it to a baking sheet and I will be placing it in the oven to finish cooking as I do the risotto. So do make sure you set a timer. Don't forget this bacon because I almost forgot it. So don't make the mistake I did. I did, remember it in time. You know, I also mise en placed everything because this risotto does call for a lot of attention. Once you add the rice, you can't really walk too far away, and you'll see that in just a little bit. But you can see just it was just a couple minutes I had the bacon in there and it rendered plenty of fat. All right. And so first I took a shallot and I minced it up and I sauteed that in the bacon drippings. All right, just to get it soft. All right. And then once it's soft, you're going to add 1 cup of the rice, either sushi rice or arboreal rice. All right, so there's my sushi rice, and I'm going to toast that for about 2 minutes in the hot skillet. And you will have to excuse my stove. It's a little messy because I did fry some chicken just before I started this recipe. And you can kind of see the grease to the side there. So please excuse my stove today. All right. So once you get the rice toasted, that's when you're going to be adding 4 cups of apple juice. But I did deglaze the pan first before I start adding the apple juice with apple cider vinegar because I was thinking the apple cider vinegar will kind of balance the sweetness. So I deglazed the pan with that. And then next I'm going to start adding the apple juice. I put like a quarter cup to a half cup at a time. A lot of times they will say to heat up whatever liquid you're going to be adding to your risotto, but I used room temperature apple juice, and I also chose to use this cast iron pan, which I think was a good choice because the heat is evenly distributed, and it stays hot. All right, so when I add the room temperature apple juice, it's not going to be so bad. All right, so this is going to take around 20 to 30 minutes adding all this apple juice. So I'm going to speed it up and you can kind of see how it progresses. All right, so we're towards the end. Um, and so, like I said, most recipes for risotto is 1 cup of rice and 4 cups liquid. I found I had to add um, another cup of apple juice and it was getting too sweet. So what I just added was another half cup of water because the rice grains were still quite hard. They weren't quite done, so I had to add the additional liquid. Um, if I were to do this again, I would probably add only up to 3 cups of apple juice because this did come out quite a bit sweet, even with the addition of the apple cider vinegar. All right, and so you can see it here. It kind of looks like oatmeal to me at this point. And so, but I'm going to tell you, it did come out really good. All right, so I haven't added salt yet. I will be adding salt soon. A couple considerations you have about adding salt at this point. One, bacon is salty, and then I'm going to be adding a white cheddar cheese. It's going to be white sharp cheddar cheese, and that has kind of a high sodium count as well. Most of the recipes said to add like Parmesan cheese, but I chose to do white cheddar cheese because cheddar and apple are more of a classic combination. Right. So you can also see I do take brief breaks throughout, like right now, I stepped away maybe not quite a minute, and you can see how fast that the liquid is evaporating. All right. Yeah, you don't want to step away more than 30 seconds. So, and you got to keep mixing it. You can stir slowly. It doesn't have to be a rapid stir. And I would actually suggest a gentle mixing as opposed to being rough with it because you don't want to break up your rice bits. All right, so I added about a half a teaspoon of salt to this rice, and to me that seemed adequate. Someone else may want it a little more salty. You know, when you make it, you can make it as you like. All right. So, like I said before, I had mise en place everything because as you can see, I really couldn't leave this pot. So I just added uh, 3 ounces of white sharp cheddar cheese and a quarter cup of cream. And this is just to finish it off, because I tried it a couple grains at a time. And then once it was the right consistency, that's when I decided, okay, now it's time to finish it off. So a little cream. I did not add butter in here, and that's because I added the cream. And also the cheese, gives you that little bit of a buttery flavor as well. All right, so once the cheese melts and the apples, once I add those, I'm just going to cook it just long enough to heat the apple through, not to really cook the apple, just heat it through. And then once that's done, your recipe is done, it's ready for serving. All right, I chose to leave the apple on and I chose to use a sweet tango because I wanted the little red spots on there, because I thought a Granny Smith would do good because a Granny Smith is tart. Oh, by the way, I'm adding pepper, but Granny Smith is tart and it's firm, whereas a sweet tango is firm and it also is sweet. It kind of has a honey like sweetness to it. And it's actually a relatively new apple. It was created in 2009 at the University of Minnesota. And basically, they took two types of apples and they made it the two different types to make the sweet tango. I guess that's why they call it tango, you know. All right, so now I'm plating it up and I'm trying to make it look as close to the way it looked on the show as possible. Um, So I didn't have any parsley, so I put just a little bit of Italian herbs because they did have like a little bit of green. And so, I'm like I said, I have the picture there trying to make it look as close as possible. So here's the apple risotto from the show, and here is mine. Is it close? What do you think? I say it's pretty close, you know. Their bacon was a little more pink, but I don't know. I think it's close. But yeah, I think it turned out really good. It kind of reminded me, the texture was kind of like an arroz con leche with chunks of apple. It's kind of like a rice pudding. Um, but it was more savory, but it was also sweet. They talked about a yin and a yang kind of a flavor, sweet and savory. I added fried chicken with it. This is my brother's plate. Ooh, this stuff, it was so heavy, but it was so good. Oh man. Because I was thinking, I don't know, I like the taste of apples and chicken together for some reason. I know it's weird, but it was good. So anyway, thank you for stopping by Chef Carter's Cooking Corner. Let me know if you try this recipe. Stick around and watch more videos, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.